Hi everyone. So I just created the announcement video and it made me think that maybe I should talk about what it means when I say that the energies are affecting me or like the full moons affect me because I know that it's something that a lot of people feel, but for those people who don't feel like that resonates, they might wonder like, well, what does that mean when you say the energies affect you? Like, what does that even mean? And once you hear how what that means, you may realize like, oh yeah, that does affect me, or you may realize, oh no, that doesn't affect me. My life still is the same. But anyways, I guess felt inspired to share a little bit more around that. So generally, so I guess whenever there's a full moon, the way that that tends to affect me is within about 3 days of that full moon. So it's not always on that day. In fact, usually it's like a few days before or a few days after. Whatever issues I have been sweeping under the rug, trying to avoid, trying to smooth over, trying to feel like I don't need to deal with it, it's not a big deal, avoiding in some way, whatever those issues have been for like the past, since like the last full moon, all of a sudden they will just rise to the surface. Either they will only rise within me, and all of a sudden things that didn't used to bother me before, that I've been, avoiding, like sweeping under the rug, just like I don't need to, that's not a big deal, I don't need to worry about that. All of a sudden they will really bother me. Sometimes it happens just within myself, but usually something will trigger it. Like there will be some kind of event that just suddenly brings everything that I haven't been paying attention to the surface. And the full moon energy will affect me on a very emotional level. Like I will feel very sad or very upset or very angry or something like that. And so it can be an uncomfortable time because of that. Very an uncomfortable in the emotional sense. For me, there might be a lot of like crying and things like that, or wanting to be by myself. And so it's very uncomfortable, and that's the downside. But I don't know if you've heard of the law of rhythm, and maybe I'll explain that in another video if you're interested, because I think that it really is a very interesting law, and it applies to a lot of things, and it's actually very beneficial when you think about it in the law of attraction sense, but that's another topic. But yeah, essentially whenever there's like a very something that really swings you down, something that brings you down emotionally or creates a lot of anger, if you work through that energy in the right way, it can be very, very powerful because you can achieve the opposite. So I have learned how to do that. And so the full moon, I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wonder if this one will affect me. And not every single one does. I would say about 10 out of 12 of them will affect me. So it's a high percentage. This last one I don't think really affected me, but you kind of know sometimes that it's coming, or you wonder, is this one going to affect me? And when it does, or if it does, I also know that like something really good is going to come out of it if I just work through those emotions. So basically I will work through those emotions, I will heal myself on them, I will release myself of feeling like things need to be a certain way, or when those issues arise and I realize they're a big deal and you've not been paying attention to it, when I work through that and I make my peace with that situation, it just like catapults me to new levels of happiness afterwards. Like suddenly my reality will transform to fill in the gaps where those issues used to be. So it's actually a very, very powerful and transformative, transformational time. So that's how I feel the full moons. When a full moon affects me, it will affect me on the emotional level. This whole pandemic that is going on right now, it's affecting me very differently. It's affecting my energy levels, my oomph. I notice that when I work out, and this only started affecting me like a week and a half ago or so. So I'm kind of behind the curves with when I thought this would have affected me. I thought I was immune and just coasting, but no. I first noticed it because in my workouts, like I love working out and I love the challenge of it and I love how I feel afterwards, and the challenge really is what draws me to it. So I have certain workouts that I get really excited about because I'm like, ooh, I'm really gonna get a good workout today. And I was doing one of those, and like 2 seconds in, probably, I was like, this was a bad idea. I didn't have the same energy levels, I didn't have that same oomph. Normally, I'm like trying to, increase my number of reps or increase my intensity or something like that. And I was just like, I'm the kind of person who, when I start a workout, I want to finish it. So I stuck through it, but like I was taking it easy in there. Like I was not pushing my hardest because I simply just could not. And then I really wanted to make these videos last weekend, and I just couldn't. Like I felt great. I felt fine when I was talking to people. I was fine, but like I just couldn't. And that's the only way that I can explain this. And then on a mental level, it's also affected me in the sense that like I've been like I feel like I have everybody's thoughts in my head, and I'm not feeling that as much right now. But last weekend it was strong, and I felt like I was questioning things that I don't need to question. Like I'm like, why am I questioning these areas of my life when they're actually going really well? So, and I realized, oh, well, it's not my questions. I'm picking up on other people's questions. And when I talked to a few of my spiritual friends, they were feeling the same way. I was like, is this affecting you? They're like, yeah, big time right now. So that's what that means. So if you've wondered like what does that mean? That's what it means. If you've wondered like why does this affect others and not myself? It might. Like pay attention to your emotional levels, pay attention to your energy levels, pay attention to are you having these kinds of thoughts and questions that were not triggered by anything in your current life, but suddenly they've entered your mind space because you might be picking up on the collective. So that is what I have to say about that. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the readings like I said I was going to do in the last video. All right, see you in those videos.